Hi everyone. Today I am making some wafer paper card leaves, and it's interesting because the wafer paper card is so thick, and this is printed on both sides. If you want to do this with wafer paper, I have some leaves you can do that with too. I'll show you the same thing. But the card is so thick that you can insert the wire directly into it without having to do anything else. You don't have to use a little piece on the outside or anything. And those were some card leaves. I'm turning on the steamer because I am going to be shaping these. And this is if you just want to do regular wafer paper. I have some, this is the AD grade, which is a little thinner. It's the same thing. The card is DD grade, and it's basically two pieces of AD grade wafer paper put back to back. So what you can do with this is some thinner wire. It's 22 gauge, and you can use either 22 or anything thinner. So the higher the number, the thinner the wire. And 22 works fine. It's stiff enough to go into the leaf, and I'll show you what I'm going to be doing in a minute. But you can also use it in between two AD grades, and if you do that, you might have to take some scissors and just trim off the edges. But it's pretty easy to make these without having to worry about the wire poking out, as long as you're using a 22 gauge or smaller wire. So that's the AD put back to back with the wire in between. And again, these are printed leaves that I have already. So to do this with the card, this is the DD grade card. It's twice as thick as AD. Take an X-Acto knife and just start working it. And I know it's a little blurry, the camera keeps kind of moving the focus, but you want to kind of work it in between the layers of the wafer paper card until you can insert the knife directly in. And you see I've got it in there probably about 3/4 of an inch, maybe a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. And if you make that, it's like a pilot hole. You're making a pilot hole. And then you just want to dip the wire into the wafer paper glue. This is wafer glue. You can use corn syrup, you can use piping gel, whatever you want. Just something that's going to be an edible glue that's adhesive. And this is cloth covered wire, so when you insert it into that hole that you created with the glue on it, it will grip the wafer paper on the inside. So this is, again, just wafer card, and you just want to brush off the excess glue just to keep it from making a big kind of gross mess on the stem. But that's it. That's all you have to do. And if you want to use the 2 layers, use vodka, because all you do is just one quick squirt of the vodka. You don't want to get this wet at all. This is difficult to work with if you get it too wet. The AD grade paper, and definitely O grade, is going to be thinner than the AD. Use a little edible glue on the stem again, and you're going to just spray the one side of the leaf and put the wafer paper glue stem on there about the same amount, like 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. And then just put another piece of the leaf on top so that you're sandwiching the wire in between the two. And over on the left, you can see that my steamer has started to explode, so I had to move that. But you just want to make a little sandwich of the wafer paper here. And again, you're going to have to go back and trim that edge if you do this back to back. But if you have the wafer card that's thicker, you can just insert the wire directly in there. So once you have the two, if you're using the AD grade, with the sandwich method, just sandwich the wire and then trim it, and the leaf is ready to go. So you're just going to put that down and let it dry. Don't get this too wet. And I use vodka because water will make it pretty wet when you stick the two together. Now here I have the steamer, and with the card, it takes a good amount of steam to soften this up. So you want to be kind of careful, do it a bit by bit, and when you get it wet, you can shape the leaf and then let it dry in different shapes so that it gives it a little bit of variety and a little bit of movement. And that way, when you wire the leaves together, they won't look all uniform and completely flat. But when you get the leaf wet enough, you can kind of bend it and hold it in place until it sets. For this one, so you can see how it's curling away from the steam. And you could, I took this one and I kind of manipulated the edges so that they are going to be going in different directions. Just take the leaves, steam them, and if you don't have a steamer, you can use a pot of boiling water and hold it over the boiling water for the steam. And just take the leaves and move the edges while they're still damp, and it dries pretty quickly. So once the steam dries off, the wafer paper will set up in that shape, and then you're going to have leaves that kind of look like they have natural movement to them. And then you can bunch them all together like this, and take some floral wire and just wire them together in a bunch and use them as a filler flower, or you can use them individually in flower arrangements with wafer paper flower on wedding cakes and birthday cakes. And it's a nice touch. It looks very nice, and you can use white paper with petal dust too if you don't have the printed.